Hello everyone, my name is Kieran Mandell-Wilkins, Trust Partnership Manager at Promethean, and I'm here today to talk to you about the ActivPanel LE, which you'll now have in your schools and in your classrooms. So this is a training session that will cover everything from plugging in your device to then using the built-in applications to enhance your lessons. So firstly, I want to talk about plugging in your device. So you can use either HDMI and a USB cable, or you can do what I'm doing, which is using a USB-C cable. Now USB-C is great because it's one cable that does video, audio, but it also powers your laptop at the same time. You might have traditional HDMI and USB through existing cabling, and that's absolutely fine as well. So I'm going to plug that cable in now. And what you'll see is a loading bubble appear on the screen. It just takes a second for the laptop to communicate with the panel and set the resolution at 4K, and it should pop up full screen straight away. And here you can see I've got my laptop. If I just minimize my PowerPoint and my websites, I've got the panel, and straight away I can show you that Windows is touch interactive. Okay, it knows and wants to be touched and interacted with. So I can open any website and scroll between those websites up and down. Also on the panel, I can pinch and zoom as well, and zoom out. And this works really well with any interactive content that you have, or PDFs as well. So I have Microsoft Edge, where I like to view PDFs, and it also can be a good web browsing tool. So this PDF is a GCSE maths paper that I'm practicing with my students, and I can scroll up and down with one finger. Using two fingers, I can pinch and zoom, so if any students at the back of the classroom are struggling to see, I can help them by making the content larger. I have drawing tools and highlighting tools at the top, so I can click on the highlighter and highlight the question at the top there, or I can click the drawing tools and I might be circling things that they should be paying attention to, or asking questions, making notes and solving the problem. Or better yet, getting the students up to do that for me. With Microsoft and any of the Microsoft tools, you can use the panel's technology to use the back of your hand or a cloth or a rubber to rub that content out really quickly and easily. So if you make a mistake, that's a great way to get rid of that mistake, and your students can do that as well. If I switch to some web content, you'll see the URL at the top, and there's a 3 dots icon, and there's an immersive reader mode. So some teachers don't know about this. So again, we're in Microsoft Edge as a web browser, and this immersive reader is fantastic because it just takes away the noise or the extra images and the adverts and the other content, and it allows me to show this content really quickly and easily. If I click on the immersive reader at the top, it comes off, and just again I press the 3 dots and click on immersive reader, and I can actually change the settings. If I click on appearance settings, I can change the font size, change the column widths if I need to, and I can change that color background. So obviously that cream is great for anyone with things like dyslexia, other additional needs where that harsh white background doesn't help them concentrate. So you can remove that and changing the fonts as well. If I come out of Edge, I'll go into a PowerPoint presentation. I'll just show you how that works on the ActivPanel LE. So moving through a PowerPoint presentation, I can swipe forwards and backwards, and you'll see I've got my slides on shapes here. And I can again take my pen, I can make ink annotations, highlighting and drawing over content. Because I'm in PowerPoint, those ink annotations will stick, and again I can use the back of my hand to rub out. If I want to save those annotations and keep them for later, I might want to make a PDF handout for my students and share it across Teams, SharePoint, put it on my learning environment. I can press and hold, which is how I right click on the panel. I can close that presentation, and I can choose to keep or discard those ink annotations. I'm going to discard them for now, and I just want to show you something that I do in my presentations. Is I create, where's it gone, a blank screen. So this is a great whiteboarding space within PowerPoint. There's my terrible handwriting for for you. So this can be useful just to draw out some content, have students ask questions, and I want to quickly note things down within my PowerPoint presentation. If I want to keep it all in that space, and that's what I do as a teacher, that's absolutely fine. Let me show you something else that you might want to do, and this is where I'm going to start introducing those Promethean tools. So firstly, if I press 5 fingers on the panel, I can summon this blue dot, and you might see it floating off in a corner, off to one side, or I'll put it in the middle on that darker background. So those 5 dots are a quick way for me to access Promethean tools and panel tools that I might use to enhance my lesson. And the first one I'm going to show you is if I just go on a web browser, I'm going to go back to my dinosaurs here. I'm going to say pick one for me. And here we go, we're learning about the Eoraptor. I'm actually going to click on the full globe here because I want to see this, and I can interact with this and move it around and pinch and zoom. So again, showing you that interactive content can be really powerful, really useful, and very easy to manipulate while stood up at the front of the class. And I'm in an office building near Birmingham. So I'm going to search Birmingham, and there we go, we're going to pinpoint where Birmingham is. And this is 200 million years ago, okay? But what I want to do now is annotate over the top of that content. So if I click on my blue dot, and I click on my annotate tool, and here we have a floating toolbar, and I can hold the 6 dots on the left-hand side to move that where it's somewhere easily accessible for myself or my students. And I can change it to have a white background by clicking on the sun or the moon shape. And I have pen, highlighter, and you can see if I press the icon twice, I get different sizes, and I have different colours as well. So let's go, if I press the colour again, and I can go to the colour wheel. Let's go for a really obvious colour here, there we are. And I can annotate over the top of this content. And this is actually where an example of multi-touch comes in, because this panel has multi-touch, okay? And I can get multiple students up to the panel and interact at the same time. I can undo and redo those annotations as much as I need to, or I can press the eye icon, which temporarily hides that, and it means I can carry on interacting with that content. Press the eye again, and it brings back those annotations. So that's really good if I want to show something, demonstrate something, or model something, hide the annotations, move to another resource, and then bring those annotations back. If I want to save that content, so actually I'm going to move back to the globe. I'm going to zoom the globe out a little bit, and I want to now save that for later. I press the camera icon, and that takes a screenshot, and I can crop down the image to focus on just the globe there. I'm going to leave that pink box around it, press done. I can save that as a picture, or I can open it in my whiteboarding app. And the whiteboarding app is called Explain Everything. And that application is now opening on the panel itself, because the panel has Android built into it, and it has applications that you can use. So there we have my globe. And I can press the finger icon on the left-hand side, the hand icon, and I can move, pinch, zoom, and rotate that shape. If it's at a funny angle, I can click on the object, press the lightning, and I can straighten. And that's quite good because I have other useful tools in there. So I can flip it up and down or left and right. And I can change the opacity. So I might want to do this to reveal content. So I might have the globe there. Then I might have a snapshot from Google Earth of today, and I might hide that and show the Google Earth image in the background. That would be quite interesting for my students. If I take the pen, without touching the toolbar on the side, I can carry on annotating and drawing attention to content on here. If I use 2 fingers, I can move this whiteboard around, and I can zoom in and zoom out, and it's actually an infinite canvas where I can add lots and lots of additional content onto the whiteboard. Drawing attention to the toolbar on the left-hand side, I have the plus icon. This allows me to add more content. So it might be some clip art. I might want to add audio if I have a microphone plugged in, or I can even add a video if I have a camera plugged in. I can also add photos, videos, or files from the top there. Something that's really useful is I can do a web media search directly from the app. So I might want to search YouTube, and I might want to search for, I'm just going to do dinosaur. And here we have lots of content about dinosaurs that I might want to click on. I'm just going to go to the top. I'm going to click on the top there. It's only 32 seconds. And it's dropping that content directly into the panel, into the whiteboard. And I can pinch and zoom and move that around. And I can even get it off screen if I need to. If that's causing too much distraction, I can move it away from the screen. If I want to go back to my laptop and carry on working, I'm done with this whiteboarding space. My students have asked the questions that they want to ask. Maybe I've drawn a title on here. So if I just get, we've got built-in maths tools and I've got the ruler. I'm just going to do this really quickly and say, 200 million years. I didn't do that very well, but you'll do it much better as a teacher. So I remember what that is now. I remember that discussion. And we have a few things you can do. Because we're in the tablet mode, I can swipe up from the panel and I can choose lots of different apps that I might want to go to. We also have on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the panel these toolbars. So if I just pop it up from the left-hand side as well, in here, there's a few different functions. So I can go to the home screen by clicking the house icon. And this is again in that tablet mode, that tablet functionality, and I have the home screen where I can add apps or open different apps. There's a built-in web browser. I've got Chrome here. Again, I've got that website that I can go on to. And this has left my laptop, if I show you, on camera. So my laptop is now free to do anything else. So I might want to show that website because something's happening on my laptop that I don't want students to see. It might be an emergency message that's popped up that I need to read, but I don't want my students to see. So that web browser allows me to show content separately from my laptop. If I go back to those side menus, so that was the home screen. If I can click on the next icon down from the home screen, that shows me all the apps that are open. And I can switch between them, so I can go back to that Explain Everything whiteboard. But in that menu, what I want to do is go to the second from last, which is the rectangle with an arrow, and that is to change source. And this floating window will pop up, and it will automatically detect that my laptop is plugged into that USB-C cable. And there it is, my laptop, and it comes in this floating window. That's useful because what I might decide to do is I want to show my laptop content and the whiteboard side by side, so split screen. So on that right-hand toolbar, there's two rectangles. I'm going to snap my laptop to the left-hand side, and then I'm going to select Explain Everything whiteboard, which is the E icon right in the middle there. Click on that one, and there's my whiteboard. And that left-hand side, that laptop, is still touch interactive. And I can change and adjust how much of that laptop I see. So in the middle of the screen, you'll see these two arrows, okay? And I can say, well, actually, I want to see more of that presentation. Click on the slide there, and I can go in present mode and still interact with that. And actually, I can still use the pen and the rubber to highlight content, but then I can also draw a triangle in there if I want to. And just in the whiteboard, you see this pen with some sparkles. That is handwriting and pen recognition, handwriting and shape recognition, sorry. So if I do that triangle again, rather badly, it will ask me what shapes it wants to try and convert it to. Unfortunately, my drawing ability there was rather embarrassing, so I'll try again. I'll do triangle. There we go, much better. And I'll just show you with text. Triangle, and there we go. It's got the text in there for me. Okay. If I click on that shape, the text, again, I can change the opacity, I can lock it in place. I can press the three dots, and I might want to add that word, triangle, as clip art. So I can always use the word triangle. It might be date, it might be Walt, as an example. I can also click duplicate, which allows me to duplicate the word. I click on the three dots, I can create a link and link that word to a website. The other thing I can do is move it forward and backwards, or even set the word as a background or an image as a background. So I have the ability to do that. With the shape, again, I can do the same functions, the same tools, the same layering as you've seen before. Once I decide I'm done with this split screen, I can just move those arrows to the side and I'm back to full screen on my laptop. So if I close this presentation, I'm done with that for now. And I want to summon my blue orb. The next tool I want to show quickly is the spotlight tool, which is the dot on the upper left-hand side. This is a great tool because I can pinch and zoom, and I can focus in on particular content. I can make it completely opaque and show the background, or completely black out the other content. I can do square and circle. Press the X, by tapping the screen, press the X, and that reveals that content. Back in this side menu, if I click on this diamond of shapes, we have more functionality, more settings. So I have a quick selection of apps at the bottom here. I can change the brightness and change the volume here as well. I can also quickly lock the screen from this menu. If I swipe across, I can do things like freeze the screen and even restart the panel from that side menu. And there's a quick way to get the annotate tool in that side menu as well. Talking about some other applications that we have built in to the panel. So I've mentioned the browser, I've mentioned the whiteboard, I've mentioned annotate. Next one is spinner and timer. So every teacher I've ever met likes a spinner, a stopwatch or a timer. If I click on the magnifying glass, I can change the size. So for this, I'm going to go large on this one. If I click the plus icon, I can get a second timer, stopwatch or clock. This one I'll do medium, click the plus icon again, and this one I'll go small. If I click on the cog icon, I can change between the three modes, and they're at the top there. So the middle option is that stopwatch, the clock is on the right hand side. I can show settings in 24 hours, and I can show analog and digital. In styles, I can just change between three different colours. Press the X, and that closes. For the timer, I can adjust the time quickly and easily. Again, in the settings, I can switch between different colours, analog, digital, and I can also have various celebrations, end phrases, so things like time's up if you're doing an exam or a task, and sound effects as well. If I click on the magnifying glass, I can full screen, and that'll blank the content on the screen and just show my timers, my clock or my stopwatch. I can minimize those by clicking the two arrows in at the bottom of the screen. The spinner is the same concept, so that's this purple icon at the bottom toolbar there. And I'll just full screen this. You have some presets, but you can create your own list at the top there. And you'll give it a name, and normally you do your classroom, your subject, group, and you enter the names. In the settings, you can change the style of the spinner. You can choose whether there's a celebration or sound effects, change how long the spin is, and then whether you display whatever's selected and whether you can repeat that selection, yes or no. Spin the spinner by just tapping or swishing, whatever's chosen, or demonstrate on screen. And you can have multiple of those open at the same time. The next application I want to show is screen share. So screen share is the ability to wirelessly mirror devices to the panel. I'm going to do this using my phone. I just swipe from the corner, click on screen mirroring. Because I'm on the same network on my phone, I can see the panel name, which is in the middle there. You can edit that if you want to. If you're not on the same network, or maybe you have a student that's at home and you need them to connect to the panel to show a piece of work and you're on a Teams call, you can have them open the Promethean app, which you can get from the Google Play Store, Apple Store, wherever you need to, and you type in that PIN code within the screen share app and they connect to the lobby in the same way. On this panel you can connect up to 39 devices. I can select up to 4 at the same time. If I click on share, the first way that I would suggest using this is a mobile visualizer. I can move around, you can see all the messy cables that I have there, move around and I can take a photo, hopefully of something far more interesting that I'm taking a photo of, but this is a way to share content on the screen. And there you go, there's my son doing sports day, so I can show that content on the screen. And while you're showing content, you can then click on the blue dot, click on annotate. This is a student's piece of work. So I want to highlight what's working well, what isn't necessarily working well. And I might click on the capture icon, crop that down, and I want to open that back in my whiteboard. And then I might move to another student. It might be a science experiment that I want to show. This is a great way to bring content into your lesson using the devices that you already have in the classroom. And it's device agnostic, so I'm using my phone there, but it could be an iPad, it could be a Chromebook, it could be your Windows laptop, and you just want to connect by pressing Windows and K to use Wi-Fi Direct to get onto the panel. And there we have that content. If I click done, it's in the whiteboard ready to go. And that's really useful. So again, I can change source back to my laptop using that right-hand menu. You can change settings for that blue dot behavior. So that bottom icon is to change some quick settings on the panel. And if I want to make that blue dot disappear, I click on General, click on Compass, and if I use Auto Fold, it'll hide after 5 seconds and fade away. And there's different settings that you can do there as well. But I like to keep it visible, and I just remember to hide it out of the way. And that's my whistle-stop tour of the ActivPanel LE. I am going to do some shorter 1-minute style videos for you to be able to access. Something I forgot to show with the blue dot is the ability to change how those tools appear. So if I press and hold on the annotate tool, I can change it to any of the selection of tools in here. And we have the apps, or at the top you can change to the built-in tools. So I might want to be able to quickly turn my panel off at the end of the day, although that would be risky with your students. So press and hold, and then I can change that icon. Or if I go back to apps, I can change back to annotate. One of the tools I like is the freeze icon, the freeze function. So now my screen is frozen. So it means if I show you my laptop, I can open a website, open my emails, and the students won't be able to see what I'm doing. And you can unfreeze by the little X in the left-hand corner. So that's quite useful to be able to do that very quickly and easily from that blue dot function. The same ability is in that side menu I just have to swipe across to freeze. So I prefer to have it in the blue dot. That's better for me in that compass function. So learn Promethean. If you go to learn.prometheanworld.com, this is where you can follow our CPD course on how to use the ActivPanel LE. And if I click on the top learning packs, and then if I go to products, and you can see we've got lots of products, but ActivPanel LE. And here we have courses. So we've got course for teachers and course for IT admins. If I click on the course for teachers, we've got everything from our orientation course. So it takes about 30 minutes to do, which is hopefully about the length of this video, if not a bit quicker. And we also have quick PDF guides and blog articles and some videos that you can follow. The course is a mix of videos and text-based content, and at the end you get a course certificate. Okay. You can also contact me if you have any questions. So again, Kieran Mandell-Wilkins at prometheanworld.com. Please do reach out if you need any additional support. We also have our support site, support.prometheanworld.com as well, if you need anything extra. Thank you for watching, and watch out for my other content as well.